Very much, Mr. McInnes. And let me compliment all 5 of you. You stayed within your 5 minutes, so maybe we can do the same thing up here. I was just notified that Senator Boxer is not going to be able to be here. At this time, I'll go ahead and submit her statement without objection, a statement for the record. Representative Bondin, I'm going to read a quote, and I want to make sure that Senator Capito hears this quote too. EPA Administrator McCarthy recently stated, and this is a quote, "I can't find one single bit of evidence that we have destroyed an industry or significantly impacted jobs other than in a positive way." Is that true in your district?
Well, I would take exception to that, Senator. Missouri is home to 2 large coal companies, Peabody Coal and Arch Coal, both out of St. Louis, Missouri, who have recently filed for bankruptcy. Now, there certainly are a number of reasons why a company does that, but the uncertainty created by the Clean Power Plan and the future of moving away from coal will impact their employees.
So you're talking about they filed bankruptcy, this happened after they were aware of the rule.
That is correct.
What's going to happen to those jobs then if they go under?
Well, they're trying to figure out how to reorganize right now, but almost certainly some people will lose their job.
Mr. McInnes, along the same line, yesterday, an environmental organization released a report concluding the judicial stay is economically unjustified because the coal industry will not experience any irreparable harm. What's your response to that?
I'm not sure how a statement like that could be made, as you have just asked about. The coal industry has almost collapsed. There is no ability to make future plans based on that. And I would say that whether or not the industry has been, or a specific instance, certainly the continued onslaught of regulations against generation resources have increased costs to the point that plants are uncompetitive.
Very good. Now, Ms. Wood, you spent a long time during your opening statement talking about the most controversial parts of this whole thing. That's tolling. Is there anything you want to add to that?
Senator, I guess the one thing I would add is that, saying that when you look at any instance of where an environmental rule has been stayed, the timelines have always been told. To the extent they were not done on a day-for-day basis with the period of the stay, it's not that they were shorter than the stay, they would be longer. So for example, with the cross-state air pollution rule, that was stayed for a little more than 2.5 years. But then all of the deadlines were extended by 3 years. And the reason for that was because a lot of those deadlines started on, say, January 1st. So just adding the days on would have pulled it off the calendar. But you didn't shorten them, you lengthened it. Oh. And, saying that that this rule won't be told or couldn't be told at the end of the day, I think is just a scare tactic to make people work.
Well, thank you for that clarification. Mr. McInnes, Tri-State's made a significant investments in pollution control technology due to other EPA air rules. Now, what is the purpose of these investments if the Clean Power Plan forces the premature closure of these plants, and how would your members recover their costs?
In this instance, there are no investors to share the cost. The owners of these generation facilities will pay that entire cost. And on that point, we have some of the most controlled resources in the country because of these upgrades that we've made. And now to have to walk away from those before they've lived their useful lives will be a significant burden on our customers.
Thank you. And Representative Bondin, you and I talked about this. Although the rule is now stayed, how has the Clean Power Plan already impacted coal plants and utilities in your state? In other words, is the damage already done?
Well, I believe that the coal industry sees the writing on the wall. And to that extent, I do believe that there is some damage already done. But more than that, Senator, the state of Missouri took this into its own hands. We created our own state comprehensive energy plan to try to create that energy mix in the future. And to the extent that the Clean Power Plan has interfered with our state plans, it has thrown a lot of uncertainty into the mix.
Well, I appreciate that, and I have another question, but I'm going to stay within my 5 minutes and give it to one of the other members up here to respond to. Senator Cardin?